Most people spend their entire lives chasing what they want, without ever asking the most dangerous question of all. Who is the person trying to achieve it? That single question separates those who endlessly pursue from those who eventually possess. Because life does not simply respond to your wishes. It responds to the quality of the person making those wishes. Look around you. Everywhere, people are searching for shortcuts. They search for the perfect opportunity, the perfect timing, the perfect strategy, the perfect mentor. Yet they overlook the one thing that quietly determines every outcome. The invisible architecture of their own character. The world sees results. Life measures preparation. You may believe your greatest obstacle is outside of you. Perhaps you think it is your circumstances, your finances, your age, your education, or the people who failed to support you. But the deeper truth is both simpler and more demanding. Every external mountain first appears as an internal shadow. Before you conquer the world, you must become someone who cannot be conquered by himself. There is a strange paradox in life. The more desperately people chase success, the faster it escapes them. They grip the future with anxious hands, afraid of losing something they never possessed. They become exhausted, not because they are working too hard, but because they are fighting reality itself. Desire mixed with fear creates suffering. Desire guided by discipline creates destiny. The river does not struggle to reach the ocean. It simply continues, flowing around every obstacle without questioning its direction. The mountain never hurries to become tall. It simply stands through every season until time reveals its greatness. Nature whispers a lesson humanity constantly forgets. Growth is not violence. Growth is consistency. The mind, however, has learned impatience. It wants immediate rewards. It wants certainty before action. It wants confidence before effort. It wants applause before mastery. But life has never worked according to the demands of the restless mind. Everything valuable asks for faith before evidence. Think about how many dreams disappear, not because they were impossible, but because someone became tired of waiting for visible progress. They planted a seed and dug it up every morning to see whether it had grown. They confused movement with transformation. Real transformation is often invisible. When bamboo begins to grow, there are seasons when nothing seems to happen above the ground. People assume nothing is changing. Yet beneath the surface, an extraordinary network of roots is quietly expanding. Without those hidden foundations, the height that comes later would never survive the wind. Human growth follows the same law. There are months when nobody notices your discipline. Nobody applauds your restraint. Nobody celebrates the mornings you woke up early. Nobody sees the books you read when others were distracted. Nobody notices the temptations you refused. Nobody congratulates your patience. Yet every unseen decision becomes another root beneath your future. The tragedy is that many people abandon the process because they confuse invisibility with failure. Silence is often mistaken for emptiness. Stillness is mistaken for weakness. Patience is mistaken for delay. But the deepest forces in existence operate quietly. The sun rises without making an announcement. The moon changes its shape without asking for attention. The heart continues beating while the mind is busy chasing noise. Power rarely introduces itself. Weakness constantly demands to be seen. That is why learning to become comfortable in silence is one of the greatest forms of strength. Silence is not merely the absence of words. It is the absence of unnecessary reactions. Most people do not lose because life defeats them. They lose because every opinion pulls them away from themselves. Every criticism becomes a wound. Every compliment becomes an addiction. Every obstacle becomes a reason to quit. Their emotions become puppets controlled by external events. But inner mastery begins the moment you stop allowing every passing circumstance to define your inner climate. Imagine carrying a candle through a storm. If every gust of wind extinguishes your flame, the journey will always belong to the weather. But if your flame becomes protected from within, then even the strongest winds become irrelevant. Your peace must become like that flame, not dependent upon perfect conditions, not dependent upon perfect people, not dependent upon perfect outcomes. There is tremendous freedom in realizing that your greatest power has nothing to do with controlling the world. It has everything to do with governing yourself. Self-discipline is not punishment. It is liberation. The undisciplined person believes freedom means doing whatever feels comfortable. The disciplined person discovers freedom means no longer being controlled by comfort. Comfort whispers softly. It says, sleep a little longer. It says, start tomorrow. It says, you deserve an easier path. It says, one distraction won't matter. Its voice is gentle because chains are rarely introduced through force. They arrive disguised as convenience. Every unnecessary excuse becomes another thread. Eventually, those threads become ropes. Then people wonder why they cannot move. The prison was built one comfortable decision at a time. Strength grows differently. Strength asks for small sacrifices, repeated faithfully. Wake up when your mind negotiates. Continue when your emotions complain. Remain focused when distractions promise immediate pleasure. Tell the truth when lies seem easier. Stay humble when success begins feeding your ego. Remain kind even when bitterness appears justified. These decisions rarely make headlines, but they slowly build a human being that no circumstance can easily break. Many people misunderstand confidence. They believe confidence comes from winning. True confidence comes from keeping promises to yourself. Every time you tell yourself you will do something and actually do it, you create trust between your mind and your character. That trust becomes unshakable. Eventually, when life presents enormous challenges, your own heart believes in you because you have earned its respect. The opposite is also true. Every broken promise to yourself weakens your foundation. The world may still admire you. Social media may still celebrate you. Friends may still compliment you. But deep inside, you know whether your own word carries weight. Nothing is heavier than disappointing yourself repeatedly. Nothing is lighter than becoming someone whose actions consistently match their intentions. This is why discipline creates peace. You no longer waste energy arguing with yourself. Your mind says move, your body moves, your values speak, your actions follow. There is harmony. The greatest wars are rarely fought between nations. They are fought inside individuals. One voice seeks growth, another seeks comfort. One seeks truth, another seeks approval. One longs for greatness, another fears responsibility. Every day, these voices negotiate. Whoever wins repeatedly becomes your destiny. The ancient sages understood something modern life constantly distracts us from. Attention is life. Where your attention goes, your existence follows. If your attention lives in comparison, your peace disappears. If your attention lives in regret, your energy dissolves. If your attention lives in fear, your courage weakens. If your attention lives in purpose, your life begins gathering itself into one powerful direction. Focus is a sacred act. It is choosing one meaningful path while peacefully releasing 1,000 meaningless possibilities. The modern world profits from your distraction. Every notification competes for your awareness. Every opinion seeks your emotional reaction. Every endless stream of information invites your mind away from itself. Soon people know everything happening in the world while remaining strangers to their own souls. What a strange achievement to understand everyone else's life while remaining disconnected from your own. There is immense wisdom in returning to simplicity. Sit quietly. Observe your thoughts without immediately believing them. Notice how often fear invents futures that never arrive. Notice how often anger exaggerates small inconveniences. Notice how often pride creates unnecessary battles. The observer within you is wiser than the noise passing through your mind. Thoughts are like clouds. You are the sky. Clouds come. Clouds leave. The sky remains. When you stop identifying with every passing emotion, something extraordinary happens. You begin acting from clarity instead of impulse. Your reactions become responses. Your fear becomes awareness. Your frustration becomes patience. Your confusion becomes curiosity. This is not weakness. This is mastery. Many people spend years trying to change their circumstances before changing their habits. But habits are quiet architects. Every repeated action lays another brick. Eventually, you awaken inside a life you unknowingly built. If you wish to change your future, examine your ordinary days, not your extraordinary moments. Anyone can feel motivated occasionally. Character is revealed on ordinary Tuesday mornings when nobody is watching. Greatness hides inside ordinary repetition. One page today, one workout today, one honest conversation today, one unnecessary temptation refused today, one small act of courage today. These moments appear insignificant, yet rivers are filled one drop at a time. Forests grow one ring at a time. Wisdom forms one lesson at a time. People underestimate the mathematics of consistency because they are hypnotized by dramatic stories. They see someone standing on the mountain, but ignore the thousands of quiet steps taken before sunrise. Nothing magnificent appears suddenly. It only appears sudden to those who never witnessed the preparation. Life has remarkable patience. It allows you to repeat the same mistake until you finally understand the lesson hidden inside it. The lesson does not disappear because you ignore it. It simply returns wearing different clothes, different people, different cities, different jobs, different relationships. But the same lesson waits quietly beneath every repeated pattern until you change yourself. Your circumstances often become different mirrors, reflecting the same unseen habits. Wisdom begins when blame ends. The moment you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" your suffering starts becoming instruction instead of punishment. Every challenge becomes a teacher. Every disappointment becomes refinement. Every setback becomes preparation. Nothing is wasted unless you refuse to learn. The strongest trees are not protected from storms. They become strong because storms repeatedly test their roots. Your own difficulties may be performing the same sacred work, not destroying you, deepening you, preparing you to carry responsibilities that a weaker version of yourself could never sustain. Do not fear becoming uncomfortable. Fear remaining unchanged. Comfort has its place. Rest has its place. Peace has its place. But comfort without purpose slowly becomes decay. The body weakens when never challenged. The mind dulls when never questioned. The spirit shrinks when never called beyond familiarity. Life constantly invites expansion, not reckless expansion, conscious expansion. Each day asking yourself, what fear no longer deserves authority over me? That single question can reshape an entire existence, because fear survives through unquestioned obedience. The moment you calmly face it, much of its power begins to dissolve. Courage is rarely loud. Often it appears as a quiet decision that says, I will continue. Nothing spectacular, no dramatic announcement, just another step. Then another, then another. Over time, those invisible steps become a path. One day people call you successful. They admire your confidence. They envy your peace. They wonder how you became so resilient. They see the fruit. They never witnessed the years spent nurturing the roots. They never witnessed the quiet evenings when you chose learning over entertainment. They never witnessed the mornings when your body begged for comfort, but your purpose gently pulled you forward. They never witnessed the countless moments when nobody would have known if you had given up except you. That is the hidden cost of becoming extraordinary. The world celebrates the visible moment while remaining blind to the invisible years that made it possible. This is why you must never build your life around recognition. Recognition is a guest. Character is a permanent resident. If your motivation depends upon applause, your discipline will disappear the moment the audience leaves. But if your motivation comes from a place deeper than approval, then every day becomes meaningful, whether anyone notices or not. There is a beautiful kind of solitude that few people ever experience. It is not loneliness. It is the peace of becoming comfortable with your own company. Most people fear silence because, in silence, there is nowhere left to hide. The distractions fade. The conversations stop. The endless entertainment becomes quiet. Then, for the first time, they hear the restless voice they have been avoiding for years. Some immediately reach for another distraction. Others remain still. Those who remain still discover that beneath the noise of the mind lives something remarkably calm. It has always been there. It was never absent. It was simply covered by constant movement. The deepest wisdom never shouts. It waits. Imagine a lake after a storm. When the winds rage, the surface cannot reflect the sky. Everything appears distorted. But as the wind settles, clarity returns without effort. The water does not struggle to become clear. It simply stops being disturbed. Your mind is no different. Many of the answers you seek are already within you, buried beneath unnecessary noise. People often ask how they can discover their purpose. Yet purpose is rarely found by endlessly searching outside yourself. It is uncovered by removing everything that prevents you from hearing what has quietly been calling you all along. Every unnecessary habit, every false identity, every borrowed ambition, every comparison, every fear of disappointing others. Layer by layer, the unnecessary falls away. What remains is not something new. It is something true. Many spend their lives trying to become someone else. They imitate confidence. They imitate success. They imitate lifestyles. They imitate opinions. But imitation has limits. The tree does not envy the mountain. The mountain does not compete with the ocean. Each fulfills its own nature completely. The moment you stop measuring your journey against someone else's path, an enormous amount of energy returns to you. Comparison scatters attention. Purpose gathers it. Think of sunlight. When spread across an entire field, it warms gently. When focused through a single lens, it becomes powerful enough to ignite fire. Your attention works exactly the same way. A distracted life produces scattered results. A focused life creates extraordinary momentum. But focus demands sacrifice. Every meaningful yes requires many peaceful no's. No to endless distractions. No to habits that quietly weaken you. No to conversations that drain your spirit. No to opportunities that move you away from your deepest values. Many people struggle with saying no because they fear missing out. Yet every unnecessary commitment steals time from what truly matters. Life is finite. Energy is finite. Attention is finite. To live wisely is not merely deciding what to pursue. It is deciding what no longer deserves your pursuit. There is strength in restraint that the impatient rarely understand. The archer does not release the arrow the moment it touches the string. There is a moment of stillness, a gathering of intention, a steady hand, a clear eye. Only then does the arrow fly with precision. Without stillness, power becomes waste. The same is true of your decisions. Not every emotion deserves action. Not every thought deserves belief. Not every opportunity deserves acceptance. Discipline teaches you the difference. The strongest people are not those who react the fastest. They are those who choose their responses with awareness. Someone insults them, they pause. Someone doubts them, they continue. Someone misunderstands them, they remain steady. Not because they lack emotion, because they have learned that every emotional impulse does not deserve authority. Your emotions are valuable servants. They become dangerous masters. The mind constantly tells stories Some are true. Many are not. It whispers that you are behind. It whispers that others have it easier. It whispers that failure is permanent. It whispers that your efforts are invisible. It whispers that today does not matter. But if today does not matter, then neither does tomorrow. Tomorrow is only another today, waiting to arrive. Destiny is never created in the future. It is created in the present, one decision at a time. This moment is shaping someone you will eventually meet. The person you become 5 years from now is quietly being built by the choices you make when nobody feels inspired. Motivation is a visitor. Sometimes it arrives full of excitement. Sometimes it disappears without warning. If your life depends upon motivation, then your future depends upon something unpredictable. Discipline is different. Discipline does not ask how you feel. It asks who you have decided to become. That question changes everything. Because identity always comes before behavior. When you see yourself as someone who honors commitments, your actions begin reflecting that belief. When you see yourself as someone capable of growth, obstacles become invitations instead of threats. The greatest prison is not made of steel. It is made of conclusions. I am just this kind of person. I have always been this way. It is too late. I missed my chance. These sentences appear harmless, but spoken often enough, they become invisible walls. The mind believes what it repeatedly hears. Choose your words carefully, especially the ones spoken in private. You are always listening. The farmer understands something that the impatient mind resists. There is a season for planting. There is a season for tending. There is a season for waiting. There is a season for harvesting. Imagine planting seeds in the morning and demanding fruit by sunset. It would seem absurd, yet many approach personal growth exactly that way. They meditate for 3 days and expect complete peace. They exercise for 1 week and expect a transformed body. They study for a month and expect mastery. When reality unfolds according to its own rhythm, discouragement appears. But nature never apologizes for taking its time. Neither should you. Become loyal to the process rather than attached to immediate outcomes. There is tremendous peace in doing today's work completely without demanding tomorrow's reward. The reward will arrive when it is ready. Your responsibility is preparation. Patience is not passive waiting. It is disciplined action without emotional desperation. It is continuing to water the garden even when flowers remain hidden beneath the soil. Faith is not believing that everything will happen exactly as you imagined. Faith is believing that every sincere effort leaves an imprint upon your character, whether visible or invisible. Nothing honest is ever wasted. Even apparent failure leaves behind strength that success alone could never teach. Failure strips away illusion. It reveals weaknesses you could not previously see. It exposes assumptions. It humbles the ego. It forces creativity. It demands resilience. Many blessings first arrive disguised as disappointment. Looking backward, you may discover that the closed doors protected you from rooms where you never truly belonged. The delayed opportunities prepared you for responsibilities you could not yet carry. The people who walked away created space for deeper relationships. The hardships you once cursed became the source of your wisdom. Life often teaches backward. Understanding arrives long after experience. This is why trust becomes so important. Not blind trust, pastant trust. The trust that says, I do not yet understand this chapter, but I refuse to believe the story ends here. Hope is strongest when it no longer depends upon circumstances. It becomes a quiet flame carried inside you. Storms may surround it. Darkness may challenge it. Others may fail to see it. Still it burns. Protect that flame, not with fear, with discipline. Feed it through daily practice. Feed it through truthful reflection. Feed it through meaningful work. Feed it through gratitude for what already exists. Gratitude is often misunderstood. People imagine it as pretending everything is perfect. It is not. Gratitude simply refuses to let difficulty erase the presence of blessing. Even in hardship, there is breath. Even in uncertainty, there is possibility. Even in struggle, there is the opportunity to become someone stronger than yesterday. The mind that only notices what is missing will never experience abundance, regardless of how much it acquires. Desire has no finish line. One achievement becomes another expectation. One victory becomes another standard. If peace is postponed until every goal is achieved, peace will remain permanently postponed. Learn to walk with both ambition and contentment. One keeps you moving. The other keeps you whole. Without ambition, you drift. Without contentment, you endlessly chase horizons that move farther away each time you approach them. The wisest people carry both. They strive fully. They cling lightly. They work with intensity. They rest without guilt. They pursue excellence without becoming prisoners of perfection. Perfection is another disguise worn by fear. It tells you not to begin until every condition is ideal. But ideal conditions rarely exist. Progress belongs to those willing to appear imperfect while learning. Every master was once awkward. Every expert was once uncertain. Every confident voice once trembled. Growth demands the humility to be a beginner again and again. The ego hates beginning. The soul welcomes it. Every new lesson asks you to empty your cup, to admit what you do not know, to become teachable. The moment you believe you have nothing left to learn, your growth quietly begins to fade. Remain a student of life. Study people without judgment. Study your failures without shame. Study your victories without arrogance. Study your own mind with compassion and honesty. There is an entire universe waiting to be understood within your own consciousness. Most people travel around the world while never exploring themselves. Yet the greatest journey has never been measured in miles. It is measured in awareness. Each day you become a little less controlled by fear, a little less distracted by noise, a little more rooted in truth, a little more capable of choosing wisdom over impulse. These changes seem almost invisible, but one day you will notice that situations which once shattered your peace can no longer move you in the same way. The storms have not disappeared. You have simply become someone who knows how to stand within them. You have simply become someone who knows how to stand within them. That is the transformation so many people overlook. They expect life to become easier. Instead, they become deeper. They expect obstacles to disappear. Instead, they discover a strength that was invisible before the obstacles arrived. They expect certainty before they move. Instead, they learn that clarity often appears only after the first courageous step. Life has a quiet way of revealing itself to those who are willing to keep walking. There will always be moments when the path feels lonely, moments when progress seems too slow, moments when your efforts appear unnoticed, moments when the voice of doubt returns and asks whether any of it is worth it. When those moments come, do not argue with the doubt. Do not fear it. Simply continue. The mountain does not question the wind. The ocean does not negotiate with the tide. The sun does not seek permission to rise. Each fulfills its nature without asking whether the world approves. There is profound freedom in living that way. Imagine waking each morning without needing motivation from the outside, without waiting for perfect circumstances, without depending on praise, luck, or convenience. Imagine becoming someone whose actions are guided by principles rather than moods. Someone who honors commitments even when enthusiasm fades. Someone who remains calm when chaos surrounds them. Someone who chooses truth when deception appears easier. Someone who keeps moving when excuses invite retreat. That person is not born. That person is built. Built through ordinary mornings. Built through quiet evenings. Built through difficult conversations. Built through repeated decisions that nobody else may ever witness. Brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. Do not underestimate what one disciplined day can become. One disciplined day becomes a disciplined week. A disciplined week becomes a disciplined month. A disciplined month begins shaping a disciplined life. Then one morning you look back and realize you are no longer chasing the person you hope to become. You have become that person, not because of one dramatic breakthrough, but because you refuse to betray your deepest values in countless ordinary moments. The world often tells you to seek more success, more possessions, more recognition, more influence. Yet there is another path, a quieter path, a stronger path. Instead of asking for more, become more patient, more present, more courageous, more honest, more disciplined, more compassionate, more resilient. When you become more, life naturally begins to offer more, not because the universe owes you rewards, but because your capacity to receive, create, and sustain them has expanded. Success that arrives before character often becomes a burden. Character that grows before success can carry almost anything. Never forget that. The greatest victories are not the ones displayed for the world to admire. They are the invisible victories. The morning you chose purpose over procrastination. The day you forgave instead of feeding resentment. The evening you studied while others surrendered to distraction. The moment you remained silent instead of speaking from anger. The instant you stood back up after believing you could not. Those victories reshape your destiny long before they reshape your circumstances. And there will come a time when people ask you for the secret. They will search for a technique, a shortcut, a hidden formula. But there is no hidden formula. There is only a collection of quiet decisions repeated with unwavering integrity. You kept your word. You protected your attention. You trained your mind. You strengthened your body. You refined your character. You accepted responsibility. You stopped negotiating with the weakest part of yourself. You learned to become your own guide instead of waiting to be rescued. No one can walk this path for you. Teachers can point. Books can inspire. Friends can encourage. But there comes a moment when you must stand alone before your own reflection and decide what kind of life you are willing to build. No audience can make that decision. No critic can prevent it. No past mistake can permanently define it. Every sunrise quietly asks the same question. Who will you choose to be today? Not tomorrow. Not when circumstances improve. Not when confidence magically appears. Today, because this moment is the only place where your future can actually be shaped. Do not waste your life waiting for permission. Do not wait until fear disappears. Do not wait until everything feels certain. Walk anyway. Learn anyway. Anyway. Grow anyway. Become anyway. One faithful step has always been stronger than 1,000 perfect intentions. Remember that your greatest competition has never been another person. It has always been the version of yourself that settles for less than what is possible. Meet that version with patience. Meet it with honesty. Meet it with relentless discipline. Not with hatred. Not with shame. But with the quiet determination to outgrow it. One decision at a time. There is immeasurable power in a human being who has learned to govern their own mind. Such a person cannot easily be manipulated by praise, cannot easily be broken by criticism, cannot easily be distracted by temptation, cannot easily be defeated by temporary failure, because their foundation no longer rests upon circumstances. It rests upon character. And character is the one possession that no market can inflate, no recession can erase, no applause can create, and no adversity can steal. So as you leave this moment and return to your own life, do not search for a dramatic beginning. Reach for the next right decision, the next honest action, the next promise you can keep, the next fear you can calmly face, the next habit that quietly strengthens your spirit. Trust that these small moments are not small at all. They are the invisible seeds from which extraordinary lives are grown. Years from now, the life you build will not be the result of luck, talent alone, or fortunate timing. It will be the reflection of the person you chose to become when no one was watching. Stand guard over your thoughts. Be intentional with your words. Be unwavering in your discipline. Be generous in your spirit. Be humble in your victories. Be resilient in your defeats. And above all, remember this. The greatest achievement is not to conquer the world. The greatest achievement is to become the kind of person who cannot be conquered by fear, comfort, distraction, or doubt. Trust yourself, and you will discover that the life you once wished for has been waiting on the other side of the person you were willing to become.